we saw Therein we saw heuristica.ca, which was essentially a mind mapping tool with AI-enabled support for delimiting of our topics, coupled with open knowledge maps, which was the first tool which helped us sort of get started in the discussion of literature review and selection topic. Then we have seen two other tools in the same category, which is a research rabbit and paperity. And when we concluded the session yesterday, I mentioned that we'll have the last tool in the category, followed by the next phase of this journey, which would be the selection of the tools which can help us with writing. If somebody's mic is on, may I please request to mute? Thank you. Yeah. So let's begin with our discussion for today. And the first tool that I want to show in this last part of our literature review, which sort of is a slightly better version of Research Rabbit, essentially in the sense that kind of analysis and the kind of insights it allows us to have, is this very interesting platform called as elicit.ai or elicit.com. Now, the screen that you see currently on our homepage is basically the screen that we get when we log in into the platform. It's a premium platform, just like some of our tools yesterday. And the actual homepage before we log in looks something like this. And I'm just like yesterday, I will be posting the links of all the tools in between in the chat box. So for those of us who wish to try them out simultaneously, you can do so. I've done that for Elicit. And just like yesterday, as I mentioned, just a small glimpse of the kind of collaborations that Elicit has. And we'll see in a moment why Elicit has been kept last in this list of tools for literature review. And all we do is we go and sign up, and we would be required to create an account, or we can directly log into our GitHub and Google accounts as well. So having done that, once we do that, we should have the screen that we should pop up after a series of questions that it will ask us about what is our role and what do we wish to use Elicit for, etc. And once all that is done, we come to this section where we can see that there are three options that are coming in front of us. The first one says find papers, which will essentially do what Research Rabbit and Insightful were doing, but with a slightly more advanced insight and analysis into it. The second one is allowing us to upload PDFs, essentially upload our papers and articles on its platform, and thereby gain insights from it by interacting with those documents. But we do, as I mentioned yesterday, we do have a separate tool for this. So it is possible to do in Elicit also, but we have a slightly better tool for that we'll be seeing after this. And then we have the list of concepts, which basically what it does is it does something similar to finding of papers, but instead of trying to find just papers specifically, it will try to look for concepts and ideas across all the papers that are available inside its database. So let's get started. Today we will use a slightly different example. So let's say, for example, that the paper or the area I'm looking for and the keywords that I wish to search for are communication skills in the 21st century. So what we do is we type our query or we type our topic in the search bar and we click on search. Now what will happen is once the search has initiated, it will take a few seconds, and after that, it will give us a list like this. Now, what we see here on the top, let me zoom in a little bit. This says summary of the top four papers. So what we have is a AI generated summary of the list of topics or the keywords that we have searched for, along with the papers being cited from where it is being taken. And these papers that are mentioned here, these four documents, are the top four documents that are shown in this list. So we can see that the authors are correlating when this mentioned here as well as here on the list. And these four papers are being used in order to give us this short summary of the topic that we're going to be looking for. So, and of course, This is something that is very easy to copy. In case I wish to save it somewhere, I can copy this. And just like yesterday, we just go back to the document that we were working on with earlier and just simply paste it. So that way we can save a record of this if we wish to have it. Mm. We can see that there is a filter system is available right here. And this now from here on in, we start seeing why Elicit is very, very powerful and has been kept last in the category, as I mentioned. After research rabbit, there are two columns that are currently available here. On the left side of the panel, we have the list of papers, and we have the title, the author, the year of publication, the DOI link, and the number of citations that this paper has inside this database. And we would be seeing that the list would be quite long. So if I just click on load more, maybe once or twice, we can see that it will try to load more and more papers that it is able to find, which correlate to the search query that we have initiated. So what we have to do is, let's say I want to look at this paper, for example, I can click on this. And this is why Elicit is, as I said, a little bit more advanced than Research Rabbit. On this side, we have a short abstract summary of the paper. But on this side right here, what we see is a much more detailed summary. So in case I wish to sort of get a brief idea about what the paper or the article is referring to, that is possible to do so by this AI generated summary, which will be available for the paper being mentioned here. Based on that, then we can of course decide that whether we wish to access this paper or not. And just like our other tools that we have seen so far, it would have both kinds of documents, open access as well as closed access. This one is the closed access document. That's why we are unable to see a PDF or button right here. But we'll navigate through that in a moment. Now, let's say that I want to go back to my previous menu. One thing to keep in mind is whenever we are using LSH, we should not press the back button of the browser, because what it will do is it will take us back to the home page of LSH directly, and we would lose the search that we initiated. What we have to do is we have to click on this option, which is back to node. I click on this and it brings me back to the page where I was on. Now, let's say I just want to see those papers which are available in open access. So that's where the advanced filters of Elicit start coming into play here. The first option that we have right here on the top is has PDF. If I turn this on and I click on apply, the list will be refreshed and so will be the summary on the top. We can see that the papers have not changed this time and the entire summary will be regenerated. And we will see that only those documents will now be shown for which the PDF link is available or which are available for download with open access. And we would be seeing that for some of these papers, the summary or the AI summary that it generates could actually be quite detailed. So let me see if I can find one of those. Most of them are very brief, but hopefully I'm able to find one or two documents at least. I think this one is behind it. So let's try to access this. Just a minute. Sometimes this will happen with Elicit. We would have to refresh the homepage once or twice. And it depends on the bandwidth actually of the internet. Usually it does open directly on one click, but today, I don't know why, but it is not going into the detail. Okay, let me try to come back to it. In the meantime, we see that if I click on the PDF option, it should take me to the link or the home page where the document is located. And we would have the paper directly available to us at the click of a button right there. Okay, let's try one more. So just like our other platforms that you see, it will do three things. It will either download the document or else it'll open up a something like this. Or maybe it will open up the website where the paper is located and from there we can download. I'm downloading two or three papers because the next tool that I want to show will require us to have some PDF documents as well. Okay, while it downloads, let me see if I can Access, yeah. So now we can see we are inside the paper itself, and the summary is now again available to us. So that's the first essential and important filter. Apart from that, I can also change the documents or the papers according to the year of chronology. Let's say I only wish to see the papers after 2000. I can simply just change it to 2001. And each time I change any of this, it will change the list of papers that are being listed. The more the filters are, of course, depending on the topic, the slightly the smaller the length of the documents should be. And not only that, let me increase the publication year once again. But we had done after 2000, so we can see that none of the papers that are now coming would be before 2000 because the filter is still being implemented. I have not changed it. So none of the documents that we see, that you can see that all of them are after 2000. So that's something that would be useful, especially if you are looking for contemporary documents. And illicit also allows us sort of, up to a certain extent, to actually filter according to the quality of the journal as well. I can simply drag this bar and select whether I want to have papers listed in quartile 1, 2, 3, or 4 journals. Let's say I only want quartile 1. I will click on apply. And based on its understanding of what quartile 1 journals is supposed to be, it would, I think we had to have one or two journals coming up here. I think this is from International Journal of English Language and Literature. And we would only be having those papers being listed there. So again, something very useful in case you wish to have a very specific and dedicated way of searching. So that is something that would be useful. Okay. Not only that, illicit also allows us to change or view the documents according to the study type that is being used inside the paper. So let's say I only want to see review papers. That is possible to do so. Whichever ones I want to select, let's say only review or meta-analysis, I can click on apply again, and it would again change the abstract and change the list of papers. And from there in, it would allow us to navigate from there. So I think this is from Sage Open. Okay. Apart from that, we can also add or delete keywords. This is so. Let's say if we are looking for concepts which are very, very specifically mentioned or that we're searching for, in that case, I can add my terminologies of keywords here. So if I say abstract contains and if I click on add, now it will only show me those papers whose abstract somewhere or the other hints at the word communication. So let's try that. And in this way, depending upon our requirement, we can apply and mix and match the filters. And from therein, we can change the results that we. And in the same way, I can also exclude some keywords to be searched upon, which means that if I type communication here, it will exclude those papers which do not contain the term communication. So that's how the filter inside illicit works. Okay, let me go back to the default. I'm keeping the hash PDF button open because the next part that I want to show, which I feel is the most powerful feature of illicit, would require us to have those documents which has a PDF because that would be better. And there's one more button here, which would allow us to change the results according to most recent publication, less recent, according to most or least of citations, or the title, or the most relevant, which is by default selected. But so that's the first half of illicit. Now here currently we can see that there are two tabs that are given. We have the paper tab and the abstract tab. But here on this side, you can see that there is a list of columns that are shown along with the option of adding. If I click on show more, we'll see that there is a whole big list right from, we'll just quickly go through them. We have summary of the paper, the main findings, methodologies or introduced inside the paper, interventions, outcomes measured, limitations, then further subdivisions under summary of introduction, the design used, study design used, the theoretical framework used, what were the research questions, the research gaps, the hypotheses that were tested, future research, the funding source, data set. There's a whole lot. There's a whole big list that is there. It ends with policy recommendations. So let's say that I want to see what were the research questions that were available inside these papers. I just click on research questions. I click on it And we can see that a new column is being added here. In whichever paper Elicit is able to pull the research questions from it, it will show us the list there. And we can see that now we have them being shown in front of each paper. Wherever it is not able to find that result, that box will be empty. So we'll see that in a moment, because the moment I go to some of the other options, some of them will not be there for all the papers. But whatever it is able to find, it will list those questions. So in terms of trying to help us save the time and trying to very quickly understand what the paper is trying to talk about, else it is very, very useful. Let's say I want to look at the main findings. And one thing to take a note of is at one point of time, we are able to add two columns maximum in the free version. Since we're using the free version of LSA, we can add two columns at a time. So if I want to add anything else now, which is now disabled, I have to remove one of this first. And we can see that main findings are now being listed here. And we have the main findings being shown for each of these papers. And let's try to load a few more, because I want to show what happens in case it is not able to find that particular category. I think so far it has found them for all the papers. So as we can see, if it is not able to find anything, it will give us this message. Not mentioned, or the paper does not present any specific main findings or result from a study. So this is the message that we will get. For any of this that I select from here, in case LSET is not able to find that for us through its technology or through its mechanism of pulling the information from it. Now, let's say I want to add another column. I simply click on let's say I want to remove the research questions. Okay, but before we do that, suppose I want to save this. It's very simple. Just like yesterday, we can select this and we can paste it. Or, of course, as I showed yesterday, we can nip it, or that is have a screenshot of it, or maybe note it down somewhere. And in this way, we can save it. Unfortunately, the free version of LSA does not allow us to download it. As we can see, if I click on export as, it will ask me to upgrade to the premium version. But nonetheless, we can of course save this. Copying this in Excel would be better actually, but since my Word file was open, I have copied it there. Since it's divided in the form of cells, exporting this by manually copy pasting it in Excel would give us better formatting. And in this way, we can save it. All right. Now, suppose I want to remove the research questions. I can click on this arrow, the down arrow that is shown right here, and I can click on delete column. And again, I can see that all of my options are now active. And from there, whichever ones I select, that would be available to me. Let's say I want to see the future scope of research for the areas that I'm looking for. We can see that in a moment, it will go through about 32 documents are listed here currently. And out of that, it will go through all of them and return whatever results it is able to find. Now, here, as we can see, for many of these papers, future areas are not mentioned. The future scope is not there. But whatever it was able to find, it will pull that. So if I click on this one, for the first one, it has found the future research. It will open up a new tab like this, where the future research will be listed along with the section of the paper or the document from where it was being pulled from. So the content or that part of the paper, that's why I kept the open access open, so that we can have this dialog box, because this will not happen for the papers in closed access. So it will show us the highlighted section from where the information is being pulled from. And if I click on open paper, it will directly take me to that document directly. So this is another interesting way to correlate the insights developed from the paper along with the section of the paper itself. And this will work for any of these fields that are given here. The only thing is, at a time, we can have only two columns added here. So this is why, as I said, LSF has been kept for the last, because this is something that Research Rabbit or Insightful does not allow us to do. So that's the first aspect of LSH. And we'll come back to list of concepts in a moment. But I want to talk about this for a moment, which is the next option here. Extract data from PDFs. Somebody's mic is on. Yeah.
What you find?
Yeah, I would request to please, because there's a lot of disturbance coming in. So thank you. Yes. Sorry for the interruption. All right. So the option of extract data from PDFs would allow us to, of course, upload the papers, but we can see that there is a limitation here. That is, up to 500 files can be uploaded with a maximum of 20 MB. And Elicit is, of course, based on my experience of using it, Elicit is much better for the kind of function of literature review that we have done so far. But when it comes to interacting with documents, there are many other platforms. We have Ask PDF, we have Chat PDF that are there. But very recently, about 6 months back, we have had the launch of a very, very interesting platform. And interestingly, the platform was launched by Google. It did not gain that much of traction in terms of being showcased, but very silently they did a beta testing of it, the beta launch of it, and then they launched it globally. And in India, it was launched about 6 to 7 months back. Some of us may have heard of the tool that I'm referring to, or the platform that I'm referring to. So sorry, is called as Notebook LM. And this is the website of Notebook LM. The main primary purpose of Notebook LM is again, and now as I said, this is by Google. So we can see that it says it's powered by Gemini 1.5. Earlier it was being touted or being referred to as a note-taking app, but I think over a period of time, Google has or has understood the capability of Notebook LM. That's why now they have to rephrase this tagline as it's AI research assistant. And we'll see in a moment how powerful this platform is. And the best part is it's completely free to use. It does not require any kind of subscription, any kind of amount to be paid. We simply have to click on, let me first paste this link in the chat box, and then we can go ahead. I pasted the link, so in case if you wish to try that, we can. I'll click on Notebook LM. It will simply open up this new option for me. And as you can see, I am using my Google account only, and it says notebooklm.google.com. If you open it for the first time, it will ask you to create an account. I mean, we don't really need to do that. If we regularly use our Google accounts, we can directly click on sign in with Google. We can sign in into the platform. And once we come to the home page, it will look something like this. And very simply, what we have to do is we have to click on this option right here that says create new. The moment I do that, it will open up this screen right here. And this is why this is a very, very powerful platform. We can see the kind of cross-platform integration that Google has already done. So if I can just draw your attention to the line that this is given right here, the amount of varieties of documents that it allows us to interact with. So any PDF interactions platform like inside Elicit, the one that we were looking at just a moment back, allows us to only upload PDF documents. But with Notebook LM, we can upload PDF files, text, notepad files, audio, MP3 audios will also work. I can directly copy paste my text manually here. If I have written something, I want to use that as my source document, or if I want to use that as my source, I can do that. Apart from that, I can also, as we can see right here, we can directly paste the URL of a website or a YouTube link. And from there, it will do what it is capable of doing. We'll be seeing that as we go ahead. And we can directly link it with our Google Docs or our Google Slides, which is the G Suite, as we call it, for the same Google account that we're using. So it can directly integrate with that. And from therein, we can start working with. Yeah, please, I would request you to keep it on mute. Thank you. Yeah. And from therein, we can directly input the data and start working from it. So even though it says that the source limit is of 50 documents, the best part is there is no page limit. I think it goes into hundreds of thousands. I remember it reading it somewhere when I was initially using it. So we can easily upload big documents such as PDF copies of books or longer Word files, etc. And again, another interesting part is that we do not have to rely on one single format at a time. So it's not that if I'm uploading a PDF, I can only interact with the PDF. I can simultaneously upload a PDF and a Word file, or a PDF and a copy and a pasted one. And from there, and the only thing is a total 50 items can be uploaded. There is no page limit on those. So let's say, for example, I downloaded a few papers earlier. I'll upload them from here. We just take these three papers and we open them. We'll see that they are being shown here. Now, the best difference between Notebook LM and Chat GPT or any other AI chatbot is that Chat GPT and other tools are reliant on the information that they have inside the database for giving us output. So there is a possibility that it can make mistakes or hallucinate, as we call it. That's the term that we use when it does not give accurate information. The chances of that happening with Notebook LM are very less because it will not go outside of this ecosystem or it will not go outside of this platform to hunt for information. Its only source for output will be the files or the data that we give or the information that we give. And as you can see, it has selected out three of our sources and a summary is being generated from that. And the very recent feature, which has been added about 2 weeks back, is that whatever information
AI artificial intelligence मैडम बोली आप ही करोगे Very good.
somebody's mic is on.
मैडम आप मेरे
Kindly mute yourself, whoever is there, please.
A humble request.
Kindly keep yourself mute. Yeah, Dr. Puneet, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. So yes, as I was saying, a recent feature that has been added is that it would allow us to convert the file or the text content of these documents into a audio podcast. So if you can see here, it says deep dive, two hosts, English only. It takes a little bit of time because it has to go through all the text content and then convert it to audio. And it can only work when I'm uploading a document for the first time. If I click on this right now, it will take about 20 minutes or so. So I'm not doing that. You can explore it. It works very well. Then you would be able to listen to this output in the form of two people talking to each other. And it directly converts this into a podcast, into an audio podcast. So that's something they've added recently. They're still testing it. So that's why it's taking some more. And of course, it also depends on the bandwidth and the internet speed that we have. Having said that, we can see that there is already a summary given here. And on the basis of this summary, we have a series of three indicative suggested questions that are coming from these three sources. Whichever source I do not wish to include into the output, I can simply select or deselect it. And based on that, the output will change. These are some of the indicative formats that are available to us without doing anything, without even typing a single prompt. If I click on the timeline, for example, it should generate a sort of a given timeline for the kind of the content that we have uploaded here. Let's just do it a few seconds. And if it does not generate, I will do it manually. Yeah, there we go. So whatever timeline or whatever events it was able to find inside these documents, it has given us the timeline of those main events, starting somewhere from 1977. And this is just from these three papers to up till what was happening in 2023. Then whosoever individuals are being mentioned in the papers, it has sort of given it a name, the cast of characters, and from there it has given who they are and what they have done in the paper. So it's the other way that the output is generated is quite easy to navigate through. And as why I mentioned it, it's a note-taking platform is because it works like a tadpole. Once the note is ready, it will be available inside this canvas. And whenever I log out from here and whenever I come back to it, those notes will be here for my reference. So I can access them from anywhere. I don't have to rely on pen and paper in terms of trying to take the notes because I can add notes manually also. So let's say I'm sitting in a meeting somewhere and I wish to type something. It works as a multi-functional platform in terms of its functionality. So I can also save this, it will automatically save. And whatever notes we generate, this is another interesting part. If I click on both of them, I have this button right here which says convert selected notes to source. So if I select them, they will replace these three papers as my source. So this can further be navigated into to get more insights and to sort of filter and format more information. So now we come back to its original functionality. I will just delete these ones from here. And we again see that we are on a blank canvas. And we start asking notebook LM questions. Suppose so we start off with something simple. Suggest the major findings of the papers. So let's say I want to know that what are the major findings of the 3 or 4 research papers that I've uploaded. It should be able to do that for us. So now, from now here on, it works like ChatGPT. We ask questions, it will give us answers. But the good part is the way that the output comes. We would have it it's a very clean user interface. It with the findings or with the output being listed in the form of very clean, short bullet points for us to very easily read and understand, along with these buttons right here. And what they would do is, just like Alice, if I click on them, it will open up the original document for me and show me from where it is collecting this information, what is generating the answers for my questions. So that's how these numbers work. And the use case of this tool is endless. It's up to us how we can visualize it. So how, since this is predominantly a session on research, I'm going to be focusing on that. But just to show you a short demo, let's say I want to use it for my for an academic activity. Generate a in classroom activity for research methods based on others. So this is one short example. And in this way, we can interact with any number of documents, syllabi, and notes, handouts, etc. And whatever we give it as an input, it will give us an input. So as you can see, it has generated a in-classroom activity for teaching research methods. And it has given us a step-by-step procedure on how the activity can be conducted and what are the benefits of doing that. Since these are predominantly theoretical research papers, more of it focuses on theory. But if we are uploading primary texts, let's say I am teaching literature, I am teaching a novel, I want to do an activity based on drama, that's possible to do. But coming back to the research part of it, I just wanted to show how powerful the platform is. I can click on save to note, it will save it like earlier, or I can click on copy from here, and it would allow me to manually copy paste the content also. Of course, this can directly be copy pasted into Google Docs as well. That is something that is possible to do. And let's try one more thing before we go ahead. Let's try, for example, maybe YouTube. Okay, I am not sure whether, okay, maybe this one. My internet is a bit slow today. This is, I have randomly opened the video. Just a moment. Yeah, okay. I think this is from Dragon's Den. It's a web show that's come on my wall. But anyways, we go back to the tool. I click, so there are two options on the link, the website and the YouTube. I click on YouTube. I paste my URL here and I click on install. Now let me deselect the rest of the above sources. So this is what I mean. I can deselect the above sources. I can just keep the one video that I want to have as my input, and now it won't go through these 3 documents. It will only go through the video that I've uploaded. So now let's say that in my research I am coming across any audio or video content that I want to maybe transcribe or get some information on. So I can do that with just one simple prompt. And now the information that will come only from this, not from the 3 documents. So I think that's okay. I think I need to go to a new note. Just a minute. Okay. So yes. So as you can see, we have the summary of the video being generated. And this can also, so as I said, each time I open a new note, then it will only give me this podcast option. Otherwise, it won't do that. And I just ask it to give me detailed summary and findings of this video. It can work with long form videos also. So there is no limitation that the video only needs to be of 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It can be a longer video lecture also. And we see that we have a detailed summary Being shown, Chris G, the founder of so and so firm, pitched his business idea for this much amount and this much equity. That's what the video was about. And then we have a list, this entire uh, content coming out to us. And all of this just by one single question that we have asked. So the more better our questions are, the more better our sources are, the more detailed the information will be. And that's how we can also go to the website. We have blogs, we have something on maybe let's say any website like a Wikipedia or Britannica, whichever website we have, or that can be pasted here and will allow us to download analytics from there as well. So that's the second tool for today. Very powerful, very useful, called as Notebook LM, and can be used in multiple ways depending upon our requirement. And best part again, as I mentioned, it's completely free to use for our purposes. Okay, yeah. Now I want to, before I go to the next tool for our demo, or I go back to Elicit. In fact, let me discuss Elicit only first. Let me finish that. Yeah. We come back to Elicit, and this is what I meant by saying that there is a better way of doing uploading of papers and getting information from there. We come to the last section, which is list of concepts. Now, find papers allowed us to find the papers from the database that it has. Concepts would allow us to simply look through. It will look through its papers, and it will try to give me a list of the documents which have this concept inside them. So if it's conceptually, if I'm trying to go through for the topic or the domain that I'm working on, then that's how it will give me the results for this particular uh, option. This one will take some more time because it has a three-step process that it follows. It will first find the papers, then it will remove the duplicate results, and then it will give me the final output. And it will take a few moments to generate. So I think since I have given a very broader area, it will find more number of papers. And in just a moment, we should be having the final results. Let's just give it a few seconds so that we can have the final output before we move on to the next tool for today. I think it has found somewhere around 72 papers. And we have the concept and the source being mentioned, essentially the name of the authors. And this list will change multiple times until it reaches the stage of final answer. And from there, it is able to pull around 30 to 40 unique concepts. So these are the concepts it has found, and the section of the paper with the paper itself that it refers to. So finally, it went through about 72 papers and found 98 unique concepts based on this search query of that I have initiated. And in this way, this will further allow us to have some insights into what are the different sub areas in which contemporary papers or research is being done as far as the second part of the concept literature review is concerned. So that is something that's another thing. So Elicit is kind of all-in-one solution which overlaps insightful and research rabbit. So when used in conjunction, all three of them, they sort of provide us with a complete ecosystem in terms of trying to enable us to do a much quicker and definitely much powerful literature. Okay. So before I move on to the writing part of it, since we have some time on our hands, I want to digress a little bit here. I am going to talk about a platform that is very well known again, but maybe for some of us it might be new, so I'm mentioning it. An essential part of our research has always been presentations. Now, I know that there are a lot of presentation tools out there, right from the conventional tools like PowerPoint to Google Slides to the new platforms like Canva that students seem to be using today. AI is taking steps in this direction also. Canva has integrated some AI features into its platform, and like ChatGPT began the whole discussion around the usage of AI tools. This particular platform popularized the use case of AI in the domain of presentations. And the tool that I'm referring to, let me close some of the extra tabs, is this one. I'll very quickly show it. because then we have the writing tools to it. It's called Gamma. Very powerful, very easy to use. We can directly sign up with our Google account, and let me see if I'm not able to get the chat box. Yeah, I got it now. I just paste the link here. Yeah. So this is, I have pasted Damagli. This is one of the more, I think this is one of the more popular tools in this list. Uh, this works on a credit system. So there are a few amount of free credits that we have. And on the basis of those free credits, we then have to use it to create whatever presentations we want. Okay. So we can directly log in using our Google account. And it would again ask us a series of about 2 or 3 questions as to what is our use case for Gamma, how are we planning to use it, etc. And after that, it will bring us to this screen. There are 3 options that are available here. The first one, like Notebook LM, allows us to paste the content directly and allow us to create a presentation from there. Or else, if I have my information in a Word file or a doc file, I can import my files from here. It will allow me to do 3 things: upload a PowerPoint, a Word file or a PDF file, import files directly from Slides and Google Docs, or import a URL, which means I can import a website also or a Notion platform. Now, this one is still very new, recently added, it's in beta version. It has now tried to integrate with Notion documents, blog posts, or web pages. Or in case any of this doesn't do, I can paste my text and go back to it. All right. Uh, Apart from that, the most popular one, however, is this. This allows us to create something on the basis of a few keywords, a sentence, or a topic. So we can see that the first thing that it asks us to do is choose from one of the 3 outputs, that are we looking for a web page, a document, or a presentation. We go to the presentation part. Now, there are 3 options to choose from. The first one is the cards option. So in the free version of this platform, we can have up to 10 cards. Cards is nothing but the number of slides that we can generate. With the upgraded version to the Pro, it generates up to 30 slides. 10 slides in itself will be very powerful. We'll see that in a moment. Then there is this button right here, which allows us to change the orientation or the size of the page or the slide, how it should look like. They keep default for now. And of course, we then have the language. It has a very vast collection of languages that it supports, and we can choose according to our requirement. There are some, I think, Indian languages also. Yeah, we have Hindi, we have Gujarati, some other languages right here. Okay. Then what we have to do as the first step is we simply have to type the topic that we wish to have a presentation on. We just click on this button, generate outline. Now it will generate 10 slides for us. And we can see that there are about 400 credits that are given here. So this is what I was referring to. It works on a credit system. Each time I generate a presentation, it will use up some of these credits. Now, let's say that I am not happy with this outline that it has generated, or I want to change something manually. I can add or delete anything from here. And this is very important to note, because this outline will be used as a base, or will be used as a starting point to generate the detailed content. So I'll go back to the default setting. Somebody's mic is again on. I hope I request you please mute. Thank you. Yeah. So let's say that I find this to be okay. Then we have to scroll down. There are a few options that we can choose. Right now it says medium, that is the amount of text content that we can have. I'll go to detail. Then what kind of images do we want inside our presentation? There are a list of options to choose from. AI images is the default selected one, which means that AI will generate new images every time. If we can go with web images, stock images, automatically selecting best images, etc. I'll go with AI, so it will generate images for us. Then, in fact, we can go ahead and define what kind of images do we want. So if I am somebody who wants to give more visual aspect to my presentation, if I'm somebody who's into fine arts and who wants to show very specific parts of an image that can be described right from colors to styles to the color combination, etc. And the last one is the image model. So which model do we want to? This is the language model basically. Which one do we want to use to generate the image? Some of them are requiring the premium version, but the basic one will work quite well for our this demo here. Okay. Then we have to click on generate, and as the last selection, it will ask us to select the theme. I think the theme will come later on. Okay, we have changed the order. But as we can see, the presentation is being generated as we speak. And after that, once the entire presentation is ready, it can be edited manually. It can just be edited like a PowerPoint. The toolbar to edit the presentation is given here. I can insert images. I can change the font. I can create new blocks. I can embed videos and media inside it. I can embed web pages, etc. Before doing anything else, let's scroll back to the top. Let's see how it would look like in a presentation form. So we click on present, and this is what the presentation looks like. I'll quickly scroll through. There are 10 slides that have come up, and the images that we see are generated completely by AI. So we can very clearly see the resolution of that as well. Okay. Now, why particularly gamma is very useful is because of what I'm about to show this. So I can change the theme from here. I can change between these four categories: dark, light, professional, and colorful. Let's say this one. It will change it immediately. Okay. So let's say this is what I want to work with. And as I mentioned, anything can be added or deleted from here. I can share this presentation with anyone. I can click on share button. It would allow me to add people here or add collaborators here, just like Research Rabbit. And then we can choose the level of permission. Full access means they can edit the entire presentation, edit, comment, view, etc. What each permission is mentioned here for our reference. Then I can click on share. Now, what share will do is it will al- allow it to have a public link. So whosoever has this link, it can be pasted in an email or a Word file and can be shared with the students. I mean, or whosoever is doing this presentation, and they will be able to see the presentation directly in the presentation board. But the last one is very useful. It's called the export button. We can download this presentation in three different formats. It can be downloaded as a PDF. I can download it as a PowerPoint file also, perhaps the most useful one, and as a list of PNG images as well. So I'll click on PowerPoint. It will download it as a presentation now, and then I can edit it based on my requirement. So it gives us a very, very interesting starting point to work out with, especially when image selection and the outline or planning of the presentation is concerned. Now, while it generates the PowerPoint file for us, something to think about is that how powerful this would be when combined with another platform like ChatGPT. Let's say I have my outline, which I ask ChatGPT to sort of generate for me, and then I paste it here, and then it will generate the presentation on the basis of that outline. So our presentation is ready. As you can see, it integrates quite easily, and I can add or delete whatever I want to from here. It will definitely have this made to gamma badge that will be given inside it, which cannot be removed, which will be there, which will remain as it is in the free version of the software. If you want to remove it, we have to upgrade to the pro version. But since we briefly did touch upon the whole notion of the ethical use case of AI, it's good to have it here in one way because then if the tools are being given, of course, it's good to acknowledge and give the due credit as to when the tools are being used for. And this is another interesting method by which AI has can help us in sort of planning for presentations as well. So that's Gamma. I hope that was helpful. And we go ahead with our next tool in the list. And from here on in, we are diving into the writing part of the writing part of the demo today. For that, I have chosen two tools. Of course, we have ChatGPT. Most of us, as we mentioned it yesterday, some of us have used it before. But the two other platforms that I want to show apart from ChatGPT is the one that I showed yesterday. Is a very interesting website called as perplexity.ai. Now, why out of all the tools that we have, and we have a very long list of AI tools for writing, right? Some write on something as popular as Jenny or WordTune that we might know of. I've chosen these two because the way that it generates its output is I found it to be very dense and very rich. So, and it's slightly a little bit more accurate as well. So Perplexity works just like ChatGPT. I am currently on the free version. This is not the premium version of Perplexity, but it's quite powerful. So we'll see that in just a moment. Let me just take the link. I'll paste it in the chat box. So yeah, I pasted the link of Perplexity as well. And it would require us to sign in or sign up. And once we do that, and once we open it, we'll come to this screen right here. And before we do anything else, let me just go to the settings option. So settings allow us to do a few things. We can switch between the light and the dark theme, depending upon what is useful or what we require. The language of the user interface, just like Gamma, we have a list of languages that we can choose from, and it will change that. And a few other options are given here. So we can delete the account or maybe upgrade if we wish to do so. And Gamma allows us to have two modes. The one is the profile mode, and the second one is called as incognito. Incognito would mean that whatever interaction I have with Perplexity, it will not be saved inside. It will delete at the moment I log. So depending upon our requirement, we can change it. All right. We come back to the screen. And before we do anything else, we can see that there is a Pro feature that is given here. Now, if I hover over Pro for a moment, we see that Pro actually say what it does is it claims or it says that Pro would have twice the more accurate results as compared to the normal source that we do. And the best part is Pro, even though we are on the free plan, Pro is only having a limit of 24 hours. So we can get up to 23 Pro searches every day, which is a good thing. Okay. Now here, this whole platform can be leveraged on what kind of use case we want. So as I mentioned, this is just similar to ChatGPT with just a few minor differences. One of them is this option, which is focus. If I click on this, we can see that there are about 6 categories that I can choose from. By default, a web is selected, which means that it will scour to the web, it will go to the web and pull information from there. If research is my predominant focus, I can change it to academic, which means that it will still go to the web, but it will look only for academic documents and papers. If I am doing some sort of creative writing, or maybe if I'm doing some writing task, or it can help with that. Videos is there. Math, it essentially tries to sort of give answers to mathematical and numerical equations. And this one allows it to sort through the publicly available social media platforms like Reddit and pull information from there. So let's see how different it's 2 or 3 different variations now. We'll go through web. Let's say we'll start off with something simple. What are the major impacts of AI in education? Okay. So again, when we use it personally, especially, we find it that it's more smooth to sort of interact and use with as compared to ChatGPT a little bit. And another good part is that whatever information it generates, it will give us the sources right here. So I can click on them. I can click on show all, and it will show me the 6 or 7 websites that it has gone through in order to pull all this information together. And from here, I can go to any of these platforms and I can directly open it. It will take me to the home page where this particular information is being pulled in. So I think it should open in a moment. Yeah. Most of them will be web articles or blogs that it tries to go through. And it has gone through about 8 sources. Now, let's say I am not satisfied with this output. I can ask it to rewrite it for me. I can share it directly from here. It will create this copy link for me. which I can paste anywhere I want to. And this link then when once clicked will open this particular section of publicity. And apart from that, we can also ask follow-up questions on the basis of what output it generates, which is right here, ask follow. So let's say, for example, these are some of the sample questions that it gives to us. So suppose I give it a prompt like this, that based on the above, give me an outline for a research paper with a working title and a list of research questions with suggestive theoretical inbox. So there are about three tasks that we have given: an outline for a paper with a title and a list of theoretical sources or frameworks that we can upload. So that we have the exact output. We have a working title, an outline of with what can be included in each section, and we have three theoretical frameworks being referred to: constructivist learning theory, data-driven decision making, and human-centered design, followed by other sections as to what it can include, right from future directions, conclusion, and of course, since I asked for research questions in particular, these are the four questions that it tries to find out. How does AI facilitate personalized learning experiences? What are the administrative benefits, etc.? And then again, based on this information, it has follow-up questions that you can ask for. And in this way, I can ask it to do anything. I'll just show one, right? Scaled literature review of the above. Each time I type anything, it will show me all the sources that it goes to, and we can see that it has tried to at least stick to the format of the task that we're asking for. And on the basis of that, it gives, since I mentioned detail, it has tried to go into the details of it. Again, I think this is a good moment to pause for a second, and I should reiterate, none of these tools are meant to replace the process of research. They are meant to help us enhance the process of research and make it better. So none of this that is coming here should be used directly anywhere without checking the correctness of content and without rewriting it in our own words, because of course then it would fall under AI plagiarism. So because I saw the question yesterday, so I think let me answer it right now. Okay, we go back to the homepage. Let's try to change our focus. From where we come to academic. When we come to academic, we will now see how different the output is. And this time I'm going to turn the flow on. Once I turn this on, the sharpness of the output or the sharpness of the response will be much better. Let's say, we'll give it a very specific task. Let's make it a more detailed prompt this time. Let's say it's a draft of a chapter for the topic of the role of AI in education with the working practices. Then research questions, methodology, introduction, objectives, limitations, future scope of research, main findings, and conclusions. So I've tried to include all the sections that you would usually find. And since Pro is turned on and our focus is now on academic, the language, the way that it is writing will also change. And we can see that it has turned the Pro feature on. It is trying to go through the various tasks of what we have outlined. And you can see that it will give us the specific sections that we are asking for. And that's how Pro works. And since it is academic, it will not write the entire paper for us. It will help us brainstorm over it. So by changing the focus in this way, we can change the way that the output is generated. For example, I can edit this again. Let me copy this. If I want to see an actual draft, all I have to do is go to web again, paste my prompt this time, and this time it will try to write the entire thing because again I have gone back to web. So we can see it's performing the searching like a search engine in real time, and it tries to go into details. So that's essentially what Perplexity does. And in this, and of course, there is one more useful feature that is there, that is the writing part. Now this time it won't go to the web. Whatever I give it as a prompt, that's what it will use. I'm turning off Pro because we only have one search left. I give it a go again, and this time it will only stick to descriptive content and give me the response accordingly. So the response style varies greatly depending on what I select as my input. And for each of them, there are three buttons that are available here. So this it will not work with writing because it cannot access the web. But if I go back to it will not work in writing if I go back to the web option. And if I just go with search query, I hope it understands education. It's a typing error, but it's okay. I think it is understood. And once it generates the output, we have three options that pop up here, which are search images. If I click on that, it will try to hunt the relevant images for my content. So if in case I require them, it will, for generating the images within Perplexity, we have to upgrade to the Pro version. And it will try to hunt through some videos also. Mostly it will go to YouTube and other similar platforms, and all of it would be available in one single working tab right here. Just like Notebook LM, I can upload my documents, but the only limitation is it only allows us to upload PDF files or text files, and we can upload up to 3 files in a day. So this feature is available here as well. But since we now have Notebook LM, that's a much better tool for this particular part of the process. Okay, let me hide this once again. All right. With that, we come to that's the first one in writing category, which is Perplexity, quite powerful, even in the free version. And we come to the last one in the writing category, which is called as, let me first look at the language. Earlier, it was called as, when it was launched sometime back, it was called as Kahobi. It still exists by the same name, but it has now been acquired by another AI platform. They've been purchased by Avid Mode. So we can see that that's how now they both are being shown together. This is the homepage, and I will post the link of this as well. Let me see. Right at the menu go. Yeah, just a moment. I'll post the link later. I think menu is not on me. So, but and this is the homepage. We have to create an account. We'll have to log in, and once we log in after creating an account, it will bring us to this particular section. And this is basically what it does is it's a more powerful version of Perplexity, and it has a few elements that it can do. So we can work with PDF, Word file, PowerPoint, and Excel files. We can upload them here, and Kahoot can help us interact with them and gain insights from it, information. But its main part is this option right here, which says the AI toolbox, which is essentially nothing but the whole set of tools that we just saw a moment ago. So if I click on this, it will bring me to this section. Now, Kahobi in the free version has some limitations, major limitations. That is, there's a total word limit of about 5,000 words only, and the time duration for which it can be used is 120 minutes. Because I'll show you why in just a moment. Because the kind of output that it gives to us is very, very powerful. So we go back to home and we come to this section called write, that is right here. And I'll click on this option which says write new paper. And from there, it will open up this kind of a word editor for me, which can be typed on in manually. And apart from that, you can see that there are a few options that are given here. So whatever section I wish to write on, I can simply click on that section. It will open up this new section for me. It will open up this new dialog box for me. And let me take the same topic only. Language can be selected. It says very clearly your balance is 5,000 words. The input prompt does not have any limitation. So I can give it as detail in as much detail as I want to. I am just giving it a set of keywords right now. We can give our citation style as well, that what kind of citation style do we require. Then we have to select the level of originality. It has repetitive, deterministic, original, creative, imaginative. We'll go with original. And the tone of voice, as to what kind of tone with the language do we require. It has a lot of options to choose from, because apart from research, Kahoot! Also has a lot many different kinds of outputs that it can give to us. So for now, let's keep it professional, and we will select 5,000. So this is very important. The maximum result length is basically the maximum output of the word limit that we want in our output. Whatever number I write here will be deducted from my balance of 5,000 words that I showed earlier. And once I do that, so ideally, once I type 500, the 5,000 word limit should go down to 4,500. I click on generate text, and as you can see, I'm not doing anything. We should be having a result being generated in the panel in about a second or so. Yeah, there we go. So we have the literature review section along with a series of references being given to us. And because it will try to stick to the APA citation slide, and we can edit this. There are other AI commands that are available here. I can rewrite the entire content. I can summarize it. I can improve the writing, the language, the grammar. It can be shrinked. There can be a grammar check that is possible. Translation of this can be done into other languages. It supports a whole plethora of languages. Any of that is possible. And of course, I can copy paste this manually. From here on, it works just like Microsoft Word. I can edit it, and I can also copy it from here, or I can download this directly. I can download it as a Word file or a PDF file. I'll download it as a Word file, and we should have it ready. There's some problem with it. Let me try the PDF option. Usually it works. I don't know why. Maybe I should, if I close this. Let's see if it works or not. Okay, it is not working. Nonetheless, usually it works. Maybe we'll have to refresh it once. Otherwise, I can simply just go to a new document and alternatively I can copy paste this. It works either way. And I can similarly download it as a PDF button as well, as a PDF option also. Okay, let's go back. So as you can see, my balance has gone down to 4,261 words. The rest of them have been deducted from here. I go back here. I can ask it to write maybe an introduction. And I'll just come to a new section. The previous content will remain as it is. Let's try to change it. Let's try to create it this time. We'll see if there's any change in the content. We'll reduce the word length because we have a lot many options to go through. And make it about 200. We have an introduction. And again, just like our any other AI tools that I have shown, which I have deliberately chosen them in that way, including perplexity, they will give us this disclaimer. Any citations or facts presented needs to be verified before being used anywhere. So that is something that is useful to take a note of. So that's what the idea is. Okay. Like so in this way there is conclusion, abstract, discussion, results, etc. And but what I want to show in fact is I'll go back to the right option. Let me see where it is. Yeah, AI research toolbox. Okay. So if we scroll down, second, I don't know why that option is not opening. Yeah, I'm so sorry. It is available under AI templates. So if I click on AI templates, we see that there are about 6 categories that are given here. We have the general, where it can perform these options. It can translate anything, ask questions about the text, summarize any content that we have, respond to mail. So basically for this, we have to integrate it with our email, but now Gemini is already able to do that. Google has launched its own integration with Gmail. The important parts are available under these 2 sections. The one called write. So these are some of the ones that we saw earlier, but there are a few options that were not given there. So it can write a historical overview in the form of a timeline. It can do all of the other things that we saw. And if I click on publish, this is what I wanted to show. Under publish option, we have a few options that are there. This button right here would give us an output in the form of a complete research proposal. So let's go to this one. We'll see, like we can see that our balance is now around 4,057 words. Let's try something a bit more detailed this time. I'll give it some more context so that it can give us a better output. So this time I have given a bit more of a detailed prompt, and we simply just reduce the word limit once again. Let's keep it 500 again, and I'll click on generate text. So since it redefines itself as a research proposal document, let's see what it comes out. So as we can see, there is a working title that it gives to us, followed by all the sections that are coming out, objectives and background and questions and methodology, expected benefits, etc. So it tries to follow the existing format or pattern, and this is the good part. With each option that I select, Kahoot! Will give me this particular disclaimer warning every time. I hope the word option works this time. I'll try it once again. I hope it works. Yeah, this time it has done. So we can see that I have downloaded the entire output in the form of a Word file, and I can edit it as and when I wish to. So it's an excellent tool for to get an entry point to prepare the kind of reports that we have and to sort of get it a good format, and then from there start writing for our topics that we are working on. Come back to AI templates. I'll come back to publish. This will suggest areas for future research. This one ideally should suggest us a list of journals. Let's try. Let's see what kind of journals it comes out with. So this is so depending on the task, it is asking me specific questions. So while research was asking me for citation, it has been replaced by my area or field of research. I'll try humanity and social sciences. Let's say maybe 100 only. Creativity, let's keep it average so that let's keep it low. So depending for that, so the margin of error would be less. Hopefully, we get a list of journals that are actually there. Of course, we'll have to verify whether those journals are there or not. But yeah, it does claim to give us a list of journals that are there. I'm a little bit doubtful on this one because it's not giving us any link or anything like that, but and we can verify it. And as I'm sure as time goes ahead, and since Avidnote has acquired it, Avidnote is a very powerful platform. Like their main task is to uh, give out innovative technologies when it comes to this AI. So I'm sure this will become more and more powerful as we go ahead. One last thing. So these are some of the options that are published. We also have a tab called data, where it can perform all of these functions. It can generate a CSV file for me, an Excel file, can analyze a narrative, analyze data using any framework, extract data from paper, analyze multiple interviews, code interview, depending on the domain that we have. It's depending on the requirement that is there for us. So, and then there's an education tab as well. So, as I said, Kahoot, the Avid Mode develop multi-purpose platforms. So, it would help me plan a lesson. So, it's essentially supposed to give a list of lesson plans that we have. If I click on read, it can help us proofread something, give me a sort of a critique on any text that I have, and summarize the text for me. So these are some of the major features. So very powerful platform, and I invite you to explore it and see how you find it. I think with that we are exactly on time. I can open for some questions now. Uh, Sir, I hope that is fine. We can have some questions maybe. Would that be okay?
That's fine. I think that's
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me patiently. It was again a long session. I hope it was helpful. We can have some questions.
Sir,
yeah.
I'm,
Please,
Yes, please.
am I audible, sir?
Yes,
yeah, you're
yes.
audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I'm Dr. Jayshree Giri from MRL.
Okay.
I really thank you. I think we landed into a magical world of research. I wish when I did research, all these tools were available. So my years of doing literature review or so many up to bibliography part, I think so much of time could be reduced. Be
Right.
it Elicit or a notebook, whatever the tools you said, Gamma, all Perplexity, everything. I have a little concern, maybe my gender, maybe my age bias, I do not know. That could you speak little about the ethicality and AI research, some issues related to that? Is it possible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Ethical
Yeah.
concerns?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as I mentioned yesterday, that we'll be talking about it today in the discussion part. So, there are two ways in which I look at this. So, the one way is that the one perspective on this is that AI is here to stay, right? As we speak, even right now. Let me start my video. That will be better. Yeah. Okay, so hello everyone, good evening once again. So continuing with my answer, as AI is progressing, as we speak, every day there are new innovations that are coming out. So it is here to stay. I think the way it needs to work is it needs to work in tandem with the kind of policies that are now coming in place, being developed by organizations and platforms like Scopus. So I think I forgot to show that. Maybe let me stop sharing my video for a moment. I'll share my screen once again. I think that will be a better. It's better if I show it. Yeah, just give me a second. So by the way, this is now something that has been done by all the major platforms, including Scopus, Wiley, Springer, etc. I'm going to show the one on Scopus. They just type Scopus AI policy. Just give me a second. Wait, this link right here. I'll post this also. So this is the post, or this is the sort of guidelines that Scopus or Elsevier has given out in two categories. This is the policy for book authors as well as research paper authors. And if we go through this carefully, they are saying that wherever AI assisted technologies are being used in the writing process, they only and only should be used to improve this is I'm reading from right here, to improve the readability in the language and not to replace any of the authoring tasks. So hence my humble submission since yesterday that these tools are meant to help us enable the process of research better, as you very correctly mentioned, help us save some time and gain some useful insights. They are not supposed to replace our process of writing the research part. And wherever we are using AI, it says that authors should disclose in their manuscript the use of generative AI and AI assisted technologies, and a statement will appear in the said published work. And then it goes on to talk about how this policy is meant to indicate transparency. And very importantly, it says that authors should not list generative AI and AI assisted technologies as the author or a co-author, because we had instances of that very initially when ChatGPT came out. It was listed as a co-author in some of the papers. So that's why they have said this. And then it goes on to talk about that how Elsevier does not permit the use of Gen AI or any. So when it says generative AI, it includes all of these tools, right from ChatGPT to Gamma or anything. For creation of images, they have tried to cover all aspects basically. So that's what the whole policy refers to. So I hope this helps, man. They have very clear guidelines now in place, fortunately, about how AI is supposed to be used. It's supposed to supplement our research. It's not supposed to replace the process. So that's what my take on it is. So we should be, sort of trying to see how we can use it ethically. That's what the whole idea is. I'm pasting this link for this particular web page, and from there we can read through this guidelines. Ma'am, I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
So is there any way to check this?
Sorry.
Is there any way we can check that this is being followed?
Ma'am, that for that you would have to do a content analysis of recently published papers. But I mean, since Elsevier has given this out, my assumption is that they are, I'm sure, I'm sure they are doing a very, somebody's mic is on. Yeah, somebody's mic is on, I think. I'm so sorry. I cannot hear the question. Okay, continuing to that question. I'm sure they are doing a pretty thorough search for all the manuscripts that are now coming in, because now Turnitin also has an integrated feature inside it where it allows us to check for AI plagiarism. So they are trying to follow it as much as possible. But ultimately, it would come down to the user with us as researchers that we have to use it ethically. The guidelines are in place. So if we follow them, I think these tools can help us a lot.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Can I ask a
Welcome.
question?
Yes.
Yesterday I tried out after you had mentioned. Basically, I tried out about digital financial tools for MSMEs. So my ChatGPT results as well as the Perplexity results were quite similar,
Yeah.
And I suspect the today's tool put up might be similar. So I have a particular question with regard to that. That is there one basic to recommend, because using multiple tools may just generate too much data to digest, especially since we are only using it as an aid or as a help and not really to write our papers or our
Yeah.
research.
Yeah. Okay, so sir, I'll try to answer that. I have two takes on this. One is that, sir, the very fact that there are multiple platforms that are out there. So, for example, let's take a chatbot. So, we have three major chatbots that we have currently. We have ChatGPT, Perplexity is another website. We have Gemini, and then we have Anthropic, which is like Claude. And now Meta has also come out with its own model called Llama, if I'm not mistaken. So, the fact that these platforms are available over a period of time as they get more developed, they would have different content that they generate. That's one thing. However, as far as asking for a specific basic tool is concerned, my answer to that is always that what is the purpose that we're using it for? So if it's just for general brainstorming, for example, let's take that instance. If I am sort of trying to look at this area on AI in education that I showed today as an example, then I can do something as simple as ChatGPT. But if let's say I want to see, especially if I'm on the free versions of these platforms, if I want to see what kind of insights I can gain from very large documents, then I can go with something as good as Notebook LM. So depending on the use case, the tool will change, right?
Okay, so I
I
guess
hope that answers.
using these, we will really be able to decide for ourselves what to use
Yes,
in
sir.
which.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Actually, open knowledge maps doesn't work with Microsoft Edge. So that is going to create downloading browsers. I think there may be other incompatible browsers, but that's just a technical issue, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yes, that's a correct technical reach. Can be it might work on Chrome or other browsers. So that's just finished.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank you so much.
you
Yes,
for
well,
the insightful.
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you
Any
so much,
other
everyone,
question,
for
please?
your. Yeah.
Anybody has got a question?
Yes, sir. May I?
Yeah, please
Yes,
go
ma'am.
ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Dr. Punit, thank you so much for such an insightful presentation. Having said that, using these powerful tools, okay, just I have a concern with regard to plagiarism check, with regard to
Mhm.
AI detection.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
with regard to Turnitin software, definitely we have
Mhm.
an option of having this AI check. But can you just
Yeah.
help us, because Turnitin is quite expensive. In case if
True.
you are
True. True.
aware about any other flag check where even the AI can be evaluated, that would be really
Okay.
appreciated.
I am mentioning one name. It will be, it's a free to use. It has a premium plan. It is free to use. So it has a word limit certainly, but I have found this one to be very, very useful. I think I have to do it for all the participants. I don't know if my chat is being reflected, but the tool that I was referring to and which I have tried to type is content scale. It's a very popular one. It would allow us to check only for the AI plagiarism percentage. So the content can be pasted there and a small file size can be uploaded in parts, and then we can use it for AI plagiarism checking.
Can
It
you
would give
type
us
that?
I did type, but I don't think I'm able to send the message to everyone. Just a minute. Meeting group chat. I just give me 1 second. I type the name. I hope it is visible now. Yeah, it's
Yes,
called.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you
this
so much.
welcome.
Yeah, any other question? Anybody? I don't think we are going to get again Dr. Puneet. So anybody want to ask a question?
Yes.
Not only on AI and research, but even general things about AI, applications on AI or use cases on AI. Anybody from any forum, any part, any
Yes.
participant has got a question. Please. Please go ahead, madam.
Could I ask a question, sir?
Please go ahead. Please go
Are
ahead.
research students are research students allowed to use these tools?
Yes, as long as these guidelines are followed. In fact, as I mentioned, I mean, my suggestion, this is my suggestion on it, that we should try to enable them to use it ethically, right? That's my take on it. So the guidelines that I have shared, I think I did post it in the chat box also. If those guidelines are made clear, they can be used to aid us in the process of research, and none of it should be ideally directly copy pasted from the output that it generates. But it can be definitely used for planning and for enabling the research to be done.
Sir, can I ask a question again? Vishnu?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We were having a discussion where we thought that just like I'm giving a simple example of a calculator, just like calculators earlier were not allowed to be used with e-waste, and now they are very rarely allowed in the sense that students
Right.
that they use calculators. Do you think down the line access to AI or use of AI would then be so readily acceptable as far as students are concerned? And then in that case, what would have to be done is maybe the type of exams or the nature of questions will have to change.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to add on to what you were saying, I think you have raised a very, very important question and a very important point as well, sir. Just to add on to this particular the point that you have given out, and I think steps are being taken in that direction because I don't know if how many of us are aware, but United Nations, I think it's UNESCO or United Nations, which has last year brought out its document on its first draft of its AI policy on how AI can be integrated in education. It's available online. We can read through it. And there is another report that I'm aware of, which I think was given out in 2018 or 19. And this is pre-chat GPT, if I'm not mistaken. It was from India only. It was from NITI Aayog. So these are two important reports which you can go through where this discussion is already taking place. So I'm very sure, as you very correctly mentioned, there needs to be some discussion about how the way assessments happen will have to be discussed along the line. But AI will definitely be there because the way the rapid advancements are happening, I think it's here to stay. Let's see, but how it's yeah, because advancements are happening very, very rapidly, changes quite fast. So yeah, Vishnu sir, I hope that helps.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Can you just give the reference chat of that
Sorry.
policy which you mentioned? The draft?
Yeah. I'll type it. I'll
Your
type it
voice
in the
was
chat box. Yeah, no worries. I'll type it in the chat box. That's maybe because I've turned on the video, so bandwidth is being disturbed. Just a moment. I'm typing it.
Can I ask
I
a
have
question?
mentioned. Yes, sir. Yes.
just
Yes. I have
Thanks,
mentioned.
doctor. How do you find it? Can I ask, please?
Yes.
Yeah, how do you find the Microsoft Copilot as an AI tool?
I find it to be very similar to Gemini, and in fact, very similar to ChatGPT actually, rather than Gemini, because I am sure many of us are aware that Microsoft has invested. It's one of the investors now in OpenAI, the platform that powers ChatGPT. So the way that the results are generated with Copilot are somewhat similar to ChatGPT because the language model is similar. So yeah, that's what the, my take on that is.
Thanks a lot.
So most of these apps are using only open source information, right? Not papers we need to pay for. Aren't these
Uh,
apps using open source, freely available and search
Yeah,
papers?
majority of it. Yes, majority of it. To train its model, majority of it as well. Yes.
So can I ask again one more concern related to application of AI, if you don't mind?
Yes, please.
Because sir was mentioning it, recently in WhatsApp, there was a circulation related to a research by Elon Musk related to, which is going to be fructified according to him in 2026, where a man can have the choice of his baby with the all beneficial genetic characteristics, but his wife, of course, will be a AI woman. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, what is it? When I told this to my daughter, because in that they showed up to delivering the child, everything is all done. When I told her, she said, as a gynecologist, she said, excellent brain, but she said, my concern is the heart is missing. I asked her why. She said, the joy I get in navigating a child out to the external world and the parents holding the child and feeling happy. I will
Yeah.
that. I really did not know what to. I mean, it was really scary that the moment. Uh,
Yeah.
Not gender bias, of course, real women being replaced. It's sort of a little
Yeah.
concern that,
Okay, let me share my thoughts on this. Again, I would like to do it in two parts. So, from an academic point of view, if we see the theory of AI, the way AI has developed, it has. When I was reading through it initially, I found that there are about 6 to 7 stages to it. And the example that you were referring to, ma'am, refers to a point in time of the evolution of AI, where AI converts to something called as AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which
yeah,
is
yeah,
still quite far away, which will take quite a lot of time because still it is reliant upon us as humans to input anything to give an output, whichever tools we see right now. So that is the academic part of it. Coming to the second part of it, when you mentioned about the whole part of missing the connection, I would like to just go back to the initial stage when AI came out initially. There was a very popular statement, and there was a whole discussion going on about AI replacing humans in the jobs. Ultimately, we came out to this. I think it was somebody from OpenAI only, or there was somebody who mentioned this quote. I'm forgetting the individual's name. Pardon me for that, but he said very correctly that if at all it ends up happening currently in today's time, it would not be AI, but it would be us individuals who can use AI better who would replace the currently existing jobs. So my take on this currently as of now would be that we would have to skill ourselves so that we can integrate these platforms better in our day-to-day basis. As far as its evolution in the AGI is concerned, for that we'll have to wait and see because it is very difficult to predict right now. in which direction it will go. Right? We can, the
Thank you, sir.
discussion
Thank
definitely needs to happen. Yeah.
Any last question? Anybody can unmute and ask a question. Last few minutes.
So I have a question which is not very top, but is an ordinary thing that all these days photography is written by AI application. And what difference would it make? Because we were doing the traditional photography, then we were doing with the mobiles and all. Now mobile saying with AI and without AI, how do we identify these photographs are genuine or not?
Uh, with the current state of technology of image generation that we have, I mean, I think we saw it in Gamma also. It was very easy to spot the way that the images were coming out, the color combination, everything. That it very distinctively stood out that this is not an image that we have created over, let's say, Photoshop or any other platform. Because the way that the output looks like is very high resolution with very specific combinations of color and the way that the shadows and everything was mentioned. So that is very easy as of now to tell the difference between a real image and image generated like that. But again, just like content language models like ChatGPT, image generation models are also developing very, very rapidly. So I think over a period of time, they will also become much more powerful and enhanced.
Yeah.
And yeah, and in fact, if time permits, sir, do we have a few minutes? Can I just open
Yeah,
my
please.
screen? Yeah, there is something I think we can end with this particular these two examples. I don't know if so. This is something. No, not this one. I'm so sorry. This one. I am not able to. It's called. Okay, yes, it's called Sora. I forgot about that. So, sir, since you have raised the question on images, this is currently what is happening. This is the latest dive into. This is the same website that has developed ChatGPT, as we know. This is the current dive into image, and in fact, they've gone beyond image. This is Sora. This is another technology by OpenAI. It's capable of generating videos. So, whatever these small information insights you see here, this has been generated by Sora. It is not yet out for use, but they are going to launch it in some time. And
Very
maybe you can see the quality of images that the quality of videos, in fact, that they have generated. And this has all been done for using text only. And we can see the prompt also that they have given. So this prompt generated this video. So
Yeah, very
that's what I'm
useful.
definitely.
Yes, because it
But
will reduce the cost of the studios and all that, big landscaping and all that. That's what I realized. You can just insert.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As long as used ethically and correctly, it will definitely help quite a lot. Right.
And it
So,
also
thank you.
enhances our imagination. Thanks a lot, doctor. I liked it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other last question? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if there is no other question, on behalf of everybody, Higher Education Forum, Desai School of Learning, and all My Retired Life Foundation, and all participants on this particular group, we had I can only say that we had a fascinating today session. It was an exciting about 4 hours of journey on AI, not only on research, but generally entire gamut of education. Dr. Puneet, I must congratulate you for your knowledge, first of all. Let me applaud you on behalf of the Higher Education Forum, particularly, that you have a fascinating knowledge. And you are a very young person, and therefore I'm sure that you have a great, great, great future ahead of you. And on behalf of all of us, we wish you all the best. And thank you very much for being with us for the 2 days over here. And look forward to seeing you in person in the city of Bombay. Thank you very much. Goodbye
Thank you so
and
much,
good
sir.
night to
Thank
all
you
of
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Ella. Thanks, Ella.